I'm Kesenya, and a few weeks ago I shared with everybody how to determine the particular characters of your chart. And in doing so, I shared the story of my Atma character, which is Mars, and I gave it an archetypal framework. Mars for me is the warrior princess type archetype or archetype, however you like to pronounce that. And I had a lot of questions following that about, well, what's my archetype? What's my soul planet image? What's the archetype for me? And so I thought I'd make this brief little video about what each archetype can be. Now, this is a lot of fun. People get a lot of joy out of this sort of thing in online platforms. Summing up their particular planet or their particular sign with just a single word. And yeah, it is good fun, but it's actually also quite historically motivated in terms of the zodiac or astrology, because each of the signs has their archetypal image, like the crab, the water bearer, the goat, all these things that are meant to provide us with a bit of an imagery framework. And in context with that, Carl Jung, when he developed his Myers-Briggs type analysis, there are archetypes to go along with that sort of thing. So all the signs have their archetypal imagery and framework. All the planets also, they are tied to those Greek gods of so-called mythology, and so they have their particular characteristics relating to the god archetype that they are named after. Also, it's interesting to note that in some ancient cultures, many ancient cultures, they attributed various different animals or plants even that they saw in the world around them, and they projected them into the sky, and therefore gave certain constellations and stars the characteristics of particular animals that they saw, or plants that they saw as displaying a certain character type. So although this is fun and it is very it's a playful way to understand I'm going to use this in terms of the soul planet. It's also coming from a very long tradition of using archetypes to enhance our understanding. So I'm going to list all these below in the comments section, but for the pure joy of doing such a thing, I thought I'd read out what each of the archetypes are. Now, how I've determined my warrior princess Atmakarika archetype is by first taking the nature of my planet, Mars, the warrior, and combined it with the sign that my Mars is located in, which happens to be Leo, the sign of royalty. And therefore, because I like to keep things fairly gender appropriate, as the case may be, I see it as the warrior queen or the warrior princess, being that sign of Leonian royalty. And that gives me it gives me a sense of power. Like, this is my soul journey. I have to be courageous. I have to be warrior-like, and I have to do so in a very dignified, refined manner, as much as I'm able to. And it kind of it buoys me up. It gives me a goal and a framework and a real affirmation, actually. If anything, our zodiac characteristics should provide us with encouragement and upliftment as we recognize and know ourselves and see ourselves in the signs of the zodiac signs and the planets. So let's begin. So first, let's start with the planets. We've got the sun, and the sun is the archetype of the superstar. He's like the rock star. Hey, I'm Mick Jagger, or I'm Prince, or somebody, like, I'm up here and look at me. I've got this amazing creativity to offer the world, and I am a superstar. I am Madonna. I'm referring to all these musicians from way back in my teen years. So bring it into the now and refer it to some modern superstars like Beyonce or Katy Perry or, you know, anyone, you name it, someone who's a superstar who just shines their creativity out to the world. That is you if you have the sun as your Atmakaraka. I should also have mentioned the Atmakaraka is the planet out of the 7 visible planets in the sky, the 7 traditional planets. Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So the planet with the highest degree, say 29, 28 degrees, even 17 degrees if you happen to have all the other planets at a lower degree than that. The planet with the highest degree in your chart is your Atmakaraka, and it indicates your soul's journey, the big soul theme of your life this time around. So for me, Mars, warrior princess, in Leo. So sun, superstar, creative, visible. Look at me, love me, here I am. You are a superstar. That's your archetype if the sun is your Atmakaraka planet. The moon. The moon as an archetype is the intuitive guide. She's the, you know, in the film Lord of the Rings, how I'm sorry, her name escapes me, but Kate Blanchett's character comes out to offer some guidance and some wisdom to Frodo and the crew as they go on their journey. This is what we're talking about, someone who offers their guidance, their wisdom. So you are the intuitive guide. You're here to help others, to guide others, to lead others in their personal evolution and growth. So the next one down, we've got sun, we've got moon, now we're at Mercury. Mercury is the gadget girl or the gadget guy. Recently I went to see Kingsman Golden Circle, and Halle Berry played the gadget girl, and she you know, all the spy movies, the Bond movies, they all have this gadget person. Batman even has his butler, who's the gadget person, provides him with all his little, the intricate tech that he needs to function, to do his superhero duties. And so this is what Mercury is. It loves tech. It loves that practical application. It loves using its skills and abilities. If you have Mercury as your Atmakaraka, you're the gadget guy or the gadget girl. The next one, Venus. It's kind of it's kind of obvious what Venus is. She is Aphrodite. She is the lover. So you know, we look at, say, someone like Bridget Bardot or well, anyone who we uphold as the epitome of beauty and sensuality, like the Marilyn Monroe, Catherine Zeta-Jones in a modern context, somebody who is beautiful. Now, for a man, that could be someone like many people for many years thought Sean Connery was just, you know, handsome and all that sort of thing. It could be somebody like Brad Pitt in a modern sense, or I'm trying to think of the modern younger celebrities. To be quite frank, I don't pay a great deal of attention to modern celebrities, so I'm struggling here. Name some for me if you if you can think of some male Venusian-like celebrities in the comments below. List them. But I'm hoping you get the picture. That highly attractive, sensual, sexual, beautiful epitome of attractiveness, of pleasure, of love. That's what we're looking for with Venus. And so therefore your archetype, if Venus is your Atmakaraka planet, is the lover. The next planet on the agenda is Mars, and we've already discussed this one. This is mine. It's the warrior. So it's the courageous warrior type archetype, you know. So somebody who is out there fighting for justice and for good. You know, it's any of the Marvel comic superheroes. They're the warrior types. And so you know, Wonder Woman to you know, Captain America or whoever, these are the Mars type of personality. And yeah, the warrior, the courageous one. Then we have Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is the guru. Now, actually, that's what Jupiter is referred to in Vedic terms as guru. and it sums it up completely. It's the Mahatma Gandhi, it's the Dalai Lama, it's the person who is wise and revered, who is the teacher. Not the intuitive guide, which is much more of a nurturing type imagery with the moon, but Jupiter is the teacher, the guide, the wise one. So we could call somebody like Brene Brown today as one of those types of people, the guide, the guru for how to live a more holistic life. Oprah Winfrey would be another great example. These people who are offering their guru-like wisdom to the world. That's Jupiter as a Atmakarika soul planet. And the next planet is Saturn. Saturn is the boss. He's the CEO. He's the one that holds it all together and keeps everyone in line. And if you think that sounds boring or dull, please don't. Because when I was thinking of archetypes for Saturn, the one that sprung to mind for me was the chief out of Get Smart many years ago. He's bumbling Max and gorgeous Venusian 99, and he was the one holding it all together and keeping things, well managed and providing some grounding. But he had his playful side too. So I see Saturn as the CEO, that person who keeps everything together as it should be. Now, if we want to, it's up to you if you want to step into using the 3 celestial planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, as part of this Atmakarika approach. You can do so. It's not the traditional way in Vedic astrology, but modern astrologers do use them if they feel led to do so in their astrological readings. So I want to offer the archetypes for Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus. And if you choose to use them as your Atmakarika type, then by all means do. So Uranus. Uranus is the eternal free spirit. It's that wild, untamable man or woman who goes their own way, does their own thing, is highly autonomous. They are free. And so we label them as the eternal free spirit for an archetype. Someone who goes against the grain, who does what they want to do, who doesn't really care what society thinks. Somebody like Ricky Gervais might be considered an eternal free spirit because he says his mind and doesn't care what anybody thinks about it. Lady Gaga would be similar. So there are a couple, if you think about modern celebrities, there are many that probably fall into that category where they're like almost giving the bird to society because they're like, I'm free. I don't have to conform. It's actually quite a beautiful thing. So if you're Uranian, the free spirit is your archetype. If you're Neptunian, your archetype is the mystic. And this is somebody who is highly spiritual and meditative and dreamy and often in another land or living life by rules that everybody else just doesn't get. So they're mysterious to other people. They're almost elusive, they don't go through the usual processes of living life the way very, say, Saturnian people, very grounded people who have a set way of doing things would. So they're very mystical. They're very dreamy. They allow life to flow to them. So the Neptunian Atmakarika archetype is the mystic. And Pluto, the final planet in our archetype series, is the transformer. And when I think of Pluto as the transformer, I'm inclined to see some kind of a Marvel comic type character who is very powerful, almost invincible, and comes along and bang, you're changed, you are transformed. He's not one to be messed with or trifled with. He's very powerful, and his transformation can be for the good, but it's also can be very painful and very confronting. So Pluto is the transformer, and I should get my children to design me a comic book hero called the Transformer. I'll share it with you if they come up with something good. So now we want to move into the signs, because what I do when I do a reading and I look at the characteristics of the soul planet, I combine the soul planet with the sign that it's in. So for me, the warrior princess in Leo. So let's see what the signs are. Well, first we've got Aries. Now, Aries is the noble knight or the Wonder Woman, the autonomous, the person going out on their own to save the world, to conquer the world, to change the world. They don't act with others. They are completely independent, and they superheroes practically. But you know that the ancient medieval knight who was heroic and fighting for justice and for the good and for romance and chivalry. And then Wonder Woman, who in the latest film adaptation is leading the charge against corruption and evil. Interestingly enough, she fights Aries. But the truth of the matter is that in a female archetypal context, she actually is an Aryan woman, a woman who is courageous, who is a warrior, who is fighting for justice and good. I find that quite funny, actually. So if you're a man or a woman and you have your Atmakarika planet in Aries, the archetype is the Knight or Wonder Woman. This might be a little bit controversial as we move into Taurus, but I see Taurus archetype is the sex symbol. Now that doesn't mean, you know, lots of sex for you if you happen to have your Atmakarika in Taurus, but I hope it does for your sake. but what I'm referring to here is that beautiful sensual imagery. Now this can be male or it can be female. It's somebody who is upheld as being very attractive and desirable, because if something's sexy, that's what it is. It's desirable. So you are the sex symbol. You are the desire symbol, basically. So if you've got your Atmakarika in Taurus, go you. Then Gemini. So Gemini is the entertainer. Now this is different to the superstar rock star or you know, like super famous movie star. Like this is the entertainer, somebody who makes people laugh, like the stand-up comedian type entertainer, or the circus performer, the court jester type archetype. So somebody who entertains, who loves to be where all the fun is at, where all the action is at, who's very witty and bright and sparkling. So often a stage performer might be this type of personality. I remember many, many years ago, I saw the play production of Disney's Beauty and the Beast in Melbourne, and the wonderful Australian actor Hugh Jackman was playing Gaston. And he was quite unknown at the time, but he stole the show. I mean, he absolutely brought the house down. There was no way of denying it. This guy was going to be a superstar. He was incredible, and still is. But he was the consummate entertainer, had everyone in fits of laughter, and was the sparkling, shining light on the stage as part of this play. Everyone was just in hysterics at his character and the way he presented and portrayed his character. So very comical type personality, very witty, very sparkling, and very entertaining. Next we come to Cancer. Now the Cancer archetype is the matriarch. And this is not just, you know, the woman with 10 kids or whatever. No. This is the nurturing tribal elder, like the head of the tribe, the clan mother, the that's in the very sort of tribal ancient cultures. In a modern context, it would even be a business person who manage, like for example, a businesswoman who has multiple companies and is managing and nurturing her companies, helping them to grow, helping them to prosper. So it's a matriarchal type image of care, of nurturing. But that doesn't have to necessarily be of children. It can be of the tribe. It can be of the social collective. It can be of the business. It's that matriarchal nurturing, guidance and growth facilitating type archetype. Next we get to Leo, and we've talked about Leo as being the sign of royalty. So this is the sign of the king, the queen, prince, or the princess, whichever one you choose to feel represents you best. This is very regal, very refined, very dignified to have this position. So if your archetype, if your Atmacarica planet is in Leo, this is you. Your journey is about being refined, being regal, being dignified. And that's quite a beautiful thing to be. Virgo is next. Virgo is the priest or priestess. They are the one who presides over ceremony. They are the one who cares and serves and nurtures others in a serving type role. And that's really contrary to a lot of what we see happening in modern society and recent modern history. That is the role of the priest or priestess. They're there to be intermediaries between the heavenly realms and humanity, and to serve humanity in that manner. So somebody like Mother Teresa, Princess Diana would have also fallen into that category with her great service to humanitarian causes. And although his archetype could be many different representations here that I've spoken of today, Bill Gates is actually channeling his success into service of humanity. So he could also be someone who's seen as a priest archetype in this context for his service and his channeling of his resources into lifting up humanity. Libra is next. Libra is such a beautiful sign. And Libra is the diplomat. It's the prime minister, if you like, or the representative who likes to keep peace and harmony. So sometimes prime ministers or presidents don't actually do that very well, but that is the ideology behind Libra, that they like to keep peace and harmony. They like to promote unity within their smaller community context, their family context, and the wider world context. So therefore, you could almost include anyone who's doing humanitarian type work, where we're keeping, like anyone involved with the UN, and somebody like Nelson Mandela may very well have operated with for example, a warrior diplomat type role, type archetype for his journey. I actually don't know what his Atmacarica planet is, but he's a brilliant example of the warrior diplomat, bringing with courage, supreme courage, bringing that peace and diplomacy to South Africa. Similarly, Martin Luther King Jr. in the United States in the 1960s, the same kind of vibe, the same kind of feeling. Somebody who is a peacemaker, and doesn't mean that they don't take action or they don't succeed or have courage to change the world, but they do it in a very diplomatic way. So now we're at Scorpio. And Scorpio, there's a few different words we can use to describe a scorpionic archetypal person. I've written a few. We've got the wizard, the magician, the sorcerer, the shaman, and the female versions of all those, the sorceress, the shawoman, the magician, the magic healer, the witch. Now, in recent times, that's been quite a demonized type archetype, the scorpionic archetype. But it's not. There's so much that Scorpio as an archetype has to offer. There's knowledge of hidden mysteries. There's wisdom, so much wisdom and understanding, intuition and depth. And that's all represented by this sort of, this archetypal characteristic. So the Merlin type person, or in the Wizard of Oz, now I hope I pronounce her name correctly, Galindria, the Good Witch, that even that offering of wisdom to others through hidden sources, through magic, through through guidance. Hermione Granger would be another one, and obviously Harry Potter. So these are the scorpionic type archetypes. The Nanny McPhee. If you're into kids movies, those type of archetypes, and anything with that sort of hidden, mysterious wisdom nature is definitely scorpionic archetype. So that's the wizard, the magician, the sorcerer, the shaman, the witch, the charwoman, the sorceress. Next we have Sagittarius. Pardon me. And Sagittarius is the philosopher. So this is the Greek teacher sitting high on the hill, surrounded by his students who love and adore him. So this is the Sagittarius archetype. There is great wisdom here. There is great understanding here, and there is leadership here. It's the philosopher archetype. Now, this can also be, in modern terms, the university lecturer who, everyone flocks to his lectures or her lectures because they're so dynamic and so powerful, and there's so much wisdom and insight there. So it's knowledge, and it's understanding, and it's philosopher. It's a philosopher, male, female. It is the philosophy archetype. Next is Capricorn. Capricorn is the tribal elder. Now, this is like in traditional senses, it's the patriarchal type approach, but this can be male or female. It doesn't have to be male at all, just like Cancer doesn't have to be female. So we've got this patriarchal archetype, this tribal elder. So the chief in the tribe, the business manager, and that could be someone who has a cafe and runs the cafe. They are the owner, the instigator, the operator, the head of the business, no matter how big or small. So this is Capricorn. It's as opposed to the diplomat or the prime minister type archetype. This is the business owner, the tribal elder, the wise one of the tribe. Now we come to Aquarius. Aquarius archetype is the visionary. They can see the future. They can imagine the future. They know what's coming. They have this visionary aspiration for what is going to happen, what could happen, what the world could be like. Let's do it. It's a very active type archetypal imagery. It's not just as will be the case when I talk about Pisces, not just the dreaming about what could happen. It's the vision and the ability to inspire others along the way with this vision. Let's make it happen. So the visionary, this is you, the ideas person. Thank you, Aquarius. And now we come to Pisces. And the Pisces archetype is the idealist or the dreamer, but I find the idealist has a more positive resonance. I'm very Piscean, and I've been told all my life, oh, you're so dreamy. But it's never been said in a complimentary way, I might add. So hence I tend to prefer, although I love being a dreamer and being dreamy, I think I tend to prefer the idealist as an archetypal image, because you have a vision of how the world could be. You have a dream for how perfect things could be. Whether it actually manifests is another thing. You operate from this aspirational, dreamy ideology. So if you are a Piscean Atmakarika, you are the dreamer, the ideal. So let's put a few of these together. For example, you might have your sun in Pisces. This makes you the superstar idealist as part of your soul journey this lifetime. This is your Atmakarika. The sun in Pisces, if it's at the highest degree of the 7 visible planets in your chart, makes it your Atmakarika. And that being the case, you are the superstar idealist. You'll know what that means for you if that's what you've got. It can take on, it can be relative to raising a family. It can be relative to running a business. It can be relative to publishing a book. It can be relative to a career, to a relationship. It can be relative to a million different things. You personally will know what it applies to for you. For example, my soul planet at Makaraka Mars, the warrior princess, it has aspects from the moon. And so there is just masses of amounts of courage for me and dignity for me, refinement needed in my mothering and my parenting. So that is where my Atma character is most being pushed to the forefront, so to speak. So for everyone, the way it's going to manifest, the soul journey for how it's going to manifest for you will depend on what aspects other planets are making to your soul planet. But the archetype of how you're going to deal with your career, your parenting, your relationships, whatever it is, will be seen by the planet in the sign. So the sun, for example, superstar, idealist in Pisces. Let's look at another one. Let's take the CEO, Saturn. In Taurus, the CEO's sex symbol. Now that's quite a combination. How's that going to work? How's that going to play out? In what realm is this playing out for you if you've got Saturn in Taurus and it's your Atma character? Are you the boss in the bedroom? Are you, the CEO, the boss in some other realm of your life, but in a very sexy, desirable way, where people are drawn to you because of your desirability, but you're in charge? Like, it's a really interesting combination, that one. Perhaps you have Pluto, if you want to use these celestial planets. Perhaps you're Pluto, the transformer in Gemini. So you're the transformer entertainer, which can mean that you are constantly transforming yourself and reinventing yourself as a media personality, perhaps as an entertainer of the masses, and that your comedy or your abilities to entertain others keep taking new manifestations. Like I'm thinking Lady Gaga might be a really good example of that, because she's somewhat of a chameleon. And so there are many ways that Atmakarakas can present themselves in the world. Maybe you've got Jupiter the Guru, and you've got it combined with Virgo the Priestess. So maybe you're using your wisdom, your leadership and teaching abilities as the guru to serve. Maybe that's your combination, and you're finding that you are using your great guru-like abilities to serve your family, to serve your community or your spiritual group. Maybe you're serving humanitarian causes such as homelessness, or maybe you're serving in terms of helping those less fortunate, like children who are abused, or battered wives, or whatever it happens to be. Maybe you're using your leadership and wisdom to serve and help in that realm. It can take on many manifestations. Like I said, you're the one who's going to know how that's playing out in your own life. But if you've got Jupiter as your Atmakaraka planet in the sign of Virgo, then you are the guru priestess. What else can we employ here? We could perhaps use the gadget girl in Libra. So you've got Mercury, gadget girl. In Libra, the diplomat. So you use your great tech skills and your abilities to invent and create in a really diplomatic way. Like that could be in a leadership position, or in some kind of a peacekeeping group. And you bring your technical capacity, your cleverness, your brilliance and intuition, and sorry, not intuition, your tech knowledge, to serve in a diplomatic sense, in some kind of peacekeeping way, whether that's in the family. Maybe you're the gadget girl in your family unit. Say you're in a family and there's 6 of you in your family, and you are the gadget girl. And because of you, who knows how to manage all the tech in the house, you're the tech manager in your house. Whenever there's a crisis, whenever there's a, like, oh, the Wi-Fi's down, and oh, I'm so frustrated, now I can't submit this assignment, and blah, blah, blah. People come to you. You provide that, right, she'll know what to do. I'll get her to fix it. And you usually do, because you're the gadget girl. So you have this ability to bring peace through your tech skills, through your abilities. So that's one application of how the gadget girl can be an Atmakarika in Libra, the sign of the diplomat, the peacekeeper. So I'm going to list the planets and the signs and their fun little archetypes for you below in the comments. And you look up your planet with the highest degree, see what planet is your Atmakarika planet and where it is. And then look at what your archetypal framework is. Is it you? In what way is it you? In what realm of your life is this archetype manifesting for you? And I do hope that it brings you some encouragement and some joy. Because things have been a bit heavy on the astrological scene for way too long, and it's time that things started to get a little bit more fun and a little bit more joyous. So I hope I've brought a little bit of fun and joy into your life today. Thank you.